So, let's talk about breathing. Okay? Breath is the fuel for singing. Okay? Every sound we make rests on a cushion of air. It's vitally important that you support your voice with air. Okay? The more control you have over it, obviously, the more control you'll have over your tone. You'll be able to sing longer phrases more comfortably. Your sound will project farther when you need it to. You know, just like a car has gas, we need breath for our voice. Now, the first thing you have to do is you have to go back to thinking about posture again for a second, getting everything aligned, being relaxed, but also relaxing the upper airway, everything up here, okay? Your jaw, your neck muscles, all of this is just hanging. Why do I say the jaw? Well, everything's connected here. You know, there's muscles going all through here, and if you're tense in one spot, that tension's going to go right through, and it's going to grab your voice box or your larynx, and it's going to make it hard to sing. And you're going to be singing from the throat. We never, ever, ever want to sing from the throat. The throat should be open and relaxed. Yes, the sound is made there. Yes, the sound bounces around in the throat because it's a big open chamber. But we never want to sing from the throat. Okay, that's very bad for the voice. So, a nice little thing here, I imagine a kite in the air. So, singing is the movement of air. We take the air in, we exhale as we sing. Have you ever flown a kite? In a nice, steady breeze, that kite just goes like this. If that wind isn't steady, it just goes all over with no rhyme or reason, okay? Your sound is like that. If you want that sound to be nice and steady and you know, with a good flow, you must support it with the air. If your air is not steady, your sound's going to go up and down, and it's not going to be as easy to sing either. So, it says, what makes breathing for singing different from other breathing is the action of the rib cage. In normal breathing, the rib cage expands and then collapses. But in singing, the rib cage does not collapse. It stays up and out, always wide. In fact, you want to feel this constant feeling of expansion as you do it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of an exercise that shows us what muscles we use in breathing when we sing. So what I want you to do is I want you to give yourself some room from the table and maybe sit out towards the edge of your chair a little bit more. Okay, and then I want you to kind of rest your forearms over your knees a little bit. Okay, now you feel yourself kind of crunched together then, okay? Now what I want you to do with this is I want you to take a deep breath through your nose. Now think of your belly still dropping. Now, feel the expansion all in the front. Do you feel some expansion in the back? Do it again. Through your nose. Are you really bent over? Yeah, bend over with your, there. Do you feel your back, some muscle movement in your back? Yeah. So it says then exhale slowly through your mouth and gently pull your tummy away from your thighs. Do that once. Breathe in. Now exhale. And pull that in. And the chest stays still. So do you feel all that movement as you do it? Let's do another one. Let's stand for this one. Put your hands right here on your tummy, around your belly button. Okay, now I want you to breathe in through an open mouth like this. Okay, now, Mary, I saw this happen. Okay, so I want you up. Get those shoulders back. And this is going to go to the floor. Like your stomach could hit the top of your shoes. Ready? Better. Let's do that again. Pressing a little bit. Feel the expansion. Good. Put your hands like this on your sides. Press in a little bit. Now, same thing. Shoulders up and relaxed. Rib cage high. Now breathe. Do you feel this movement in the sides? Right here? Put them up and down like this. Like that. Oh, no, here. On your side. Like that. There you go. That's where you want it.
Just like that.
A little higher, a little higher. There you go. Like this. Okay, now breathe in, push in, and breathe. You feel that movement in the side? Okay? Now, take your hands, put them back here around your kidney area. Press in a little bit with your arms. Now take a breath. Feel that movement? Okay. You have this ring of muscles around there, all related. And you'll hear people say, they talk about breathing from the diaphragm. And my question always was, well, what does that mean? We really don't have any direct control over our diaphragm, which is the muscle that sits below the lungs and pulls down, creating a vacuum. We really don't have direct control of the diaphragm. We only have control of the muscles around it. And so when you take that breath, after you've checked your posture, you want to feel this expansion in all directions. Like you just filled out this room, you know, every time you do it. So breathe in, do that again. Okay, now Mary, again, I want you there. See, there's your shoulders up already. Keep them up. Don't let them drop. Now do that again. Drop your belly. Think of dropping to the floor.
You drop your stomach while you're breathing out, or you...
In first.
Okay.
Breathe in. There we go. That was better. Let me see you do it. Yeah. Okay. Center that breath low. Okay. This, you've seen people breathe like this. Their sound is always gasping, and they're always going to be breathing to catch up. Okay, you've got to take the breath in advance of the sound. You can't be catching up with the breath. So you know, it says repeat these exercises several times. These are just simple exercises. You know, do a little breathing with your hands here, here, and here again. Okay? And just fill yourself up. Feel yourself expand to capacity. Now, for singing, we want to make the breath as silent as possible. We don't want to hear, Lord have, okay? We want, watch. To get to silence, you got to release here. Oh. Did you hear me breathe? I did. Watch me do it again. Did you hear anything? No. No, because I released and opened up. This also allows the air to rush in faster. Okay, we're not sucking the air in, we're just dropping the belly and the air falls in. Okay, so if you find yourself sucking air in, just relax, relax, drop, falls in, falls into the lungs. Now, it said, while keeping the rib cage high and wide, think wide to the sides, use the abdominal muscles for support. That's the muscles we focus on. Not our diaphragm, just these abdominal muscles. Now, as we breathe out, we want to feel that constant expansion. When we breathe in, we expand. When we breathe out, we contract. That's natural. That's the way God designed us. But when we sing, we want to be in control of that contraction. so that all of our air just doesn't go out of us. So when I breathe for singing, as I'm breathing out, I'm still trying to expand a little bit, so that I keep that, so that I'm in control of that expansion and contraction.
So are you flexing your abs then?
Well,
Or not
I'm
quite?
just thinking expansion. Now, it has to happen that you will contract. You will. You have to. That's the way it works. But if you're pushing against it, put your hand out against mine. This is what we're going for. That equilibrium.
Okay.
So now you're in control of that. So you just keep thinking expanding. Dropping the belly. I keep it simple with my students. Think of dropping the belly all the time you sing. Just drop it and leave it there as you sing, okay? This lesson gets to that, but in a little bit more of a wordy fashion. And so just read through it, but keep in mind that what this means, expand, relax, expand, and keep dropping. Simple exercises you can do. There's many various exercises here, and I'm not going to go through all of them right now. I would encourage you to do them, follow the directions and do each one, because you might find that one really helps you and another maybe doesn't quite as much. But there is one exercise which is very simple. We alluded to it earlier. The S. And so each time you do this S, you want to try and make it go on and on and on. But you're focused on smooth release of sound. Okay, so when you do this S, you're up, you take your breath. And as you're doing your S, you feel yourself still expanding. And you just see how long can I keep that going and keep it smooth. That's the important part. Okay, if you find yourself at the end struggling, that's no good. That's not going to help you. Keep it smooth. That's what singing is. Singing is the smooth release of air, so to speak, as we do this. Another exercise for sudden breaths. We call them catch breaths. You ever notice sometimes in the liturgy you have to really take a fast one, okay? So you want to do just a few real sudden, and you want to be sure that when you do that, you immediately drop and release and let that air fall in, but do it very quickly. That's called a catch breath. Sometimes we need to do that. We need to get a breath in between, and we don't want to interrupt the flow of the music, so we've got to make it a fast one. So do a few catch breaths. And every time, watch when, look at my hand. Okay, now Mary, pull those shoulders back, get your posture. Now, release them, let them relax. But feel your chest lifted high. Now do them. Okay, keep your head up. Think down. Drop your tummy to the floor.
Where do you get the hiccups?
Huh?
I get the hiccups.
Okay. So, if you ever want to check to make sure you're doing it right, get into bed at night, turn over, lay on your back, take a book, put it on your tummy, and just breathe. Don't try to breathe for any reason, just breathe. And watch the book rise and fall. All the action will be right here. Because when you're laying down, you can't breathe like this. Okay, so double check that when you lay down. So, here's a little exercise I want to do for these catch breaths and for the abdominal muscles. You'll see it there on page 3 of this lesson. It's the hip, 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 ha, 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 ha. It goes, do, re, mi, fa, sol, 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 fa, mi, re, do. Now for each of these, hip, 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 ha, ha. Is it ha? Did I do ha? Hip, 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 ha, 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 ha. Boom, 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 every time. Hip, 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 ha, 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 ha. And each of those ha's is a little expansion. Remember, we're trying to expand as we sing. So let's do that again. Hip, 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 ha, 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 ha. Now, think, as you do that pitch, and I was guilty of that the first couple of times myself, especially ha, 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 ha. Think of it going that way. Sing it up and out like you're firing little bullets of sound through the ceiling. Hip, 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 ha, 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 ha. Good. That's a little exercise that gets the abdominal muscles warmed up so that you feel that expansion every single time. Okay? That's a good exercise to do. Another thing is to sing something from the liturgy. I think one of the best breath exercises in our liturgy is the long Amen. How many times do you hear in some parishes where the long Amen is sung in 4 breaths? It's supposed to be 1. So, use that for a breathing exercise and stretch it out to as long as you can make it. Okay? And make it as smooth as possible. But posture and breathing are intimately related. We're going to talk in depth about, in your private sessions, about placement. Where does the sound emanate from? What part of the body? And you're going to find that good placement is going to affect your breath. If you're placing the sound well, efficiently, you're going to use your air efficiently. So it all relates again. Okay? So have a seat for a second. I want to go through this section 5 just a little bit, because we have a particular vocabulary as singers when we talk about air. You know, what we're talking about is the column of air. The column of air is what supports the sound. It's that consistent source coming way from the bottom of your lungs up through your head. And they say, imagine a blow dryer pointing up from around your diaphragm here, which would be around here. And it says a continuous column of air allows notes to be sung with the same excellent quality no matter where they fall. So, in other words, this is the idea of support, the continuous column of air. It says a lifted phrase ending. This is important. We have to sing through the last note, not to the last note. When you hear people sing to the last note, don't you often hear how the last note kind of goes, it ain't over till that note's over. So you want to feel like you can keep lifting that phrase ending. What would be a good example of that? Well, that amen. You know, the last note of that amen, if I recall correctly, is notated as a whole note. And if I just sing to it and drop off, well, then I've just chopped off the ending. But I got to sing through that. Sing through the letter N to really make that word sound like an amen. So I want to feel like I'm still lifting that phrase ending. It says massaging your vocal cords. Imagine as you sing that breath, that column of breath coming up from the bottom and over your vocal cords. If you think of that smooth release of air, you know, that air massages your vocal cords and it keeps everything relaxed and you get a good quality. If you don't have that column of air, soon tension will develop here and that will affect your sound. It says an energized breath, quick deep breath that adds energy to the vocal line. That's also the catch breath. That's the one where, you know, you're singing a sentence, you don't have enough breath to make it through, but there's a comma in the middle of the sentence. God bless it. God bless the comma. That's where you take your quick catch breath to continue. Forward motion. Again, this is kind of the same thing as singing through the phrase. You got to use your breath in a way that you feel that sound really having direction. You know, it's a difference between Lord have mercy and Lord have mercy. It's also a thing, it's also knowing where the stress is. It's Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy on us. But that's the forward motion. 3D breath, inhaling into the space all around you. Into the front, to the sides, to the back. That's that expansion here, but it's also feeling that expansion or that relaxation here. Making sure the throat, the tongue, and the neck muscles are relaxed. You wouldn't believe the number of students I have who hold tension in their tongue. Well, the tongue is a very powerful muscle. And if your tongue is tense, that tension is going to find its way all throughout the mechanism. So, it's this. When you take that breath, you feel the kind of tired face that I'm just so tired I can't even close my mouth. And when I breathe through that, it feels so good because I'm relaxed and I really get that area in there.
Just careful you don't yawn.
Well, we like yawns. Yawns are wonderful. Why? Because a yawn opens us up. You should have that feeling when you're singing all the time, like you're stifling a yawn, because you're relaxed and open. So we like yawns. I mean, they happen, you know. And then we'll talk about suspension in your private sessions, and that deals with how do I take the preparatory breath? How do I take the breath that begins my next phrase? Okay. But one of the things I'd love to see you all work on is to spend some time with your breath. Every singer has to spend some time thinking about breathing. It's that important. So do the long S exercise. A variation of the long S is to, again, lay on your back in bed, take a book, your phone, your tablet, whatever, put it right here, breathe in, watch the book go up, and then do your long S. Now that book's going to fall, it must, but you're going to feel like you're still pushing it up to the ceiling. Then you're in control of the exhalation when you sing. But it's vitally important. You must take time to breathe and you must develop good breathing habits because everything else is dependent on it. Every other part of singing is dependent on